And we have Lothar Pirc. He is the founder and CEO of the Maharishi Ayurveda Health Center in Bad Ems. The center is the largest in Europe for Ayurveda. And he also founded and leads the foundation for the promotion of Vedic culture heritage in Germany. And this foundation supports the training of traditional Vedic students in Nepal. And this contribution helps foster peace in the world. And we talk about the Vedic papers in the last conversation. And Lothar holds the position of professor of practice at DBU Dr. D.I. Patil University in India. And he also worked with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi for many years and authored the book, The Blessings of Maharishi, The Amazing Story of My Life. You know Maharishi?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And it's wonderful that we have him with us today. And he sits in Bad Ems. Yeah. Now, Lothar, it's your turn. You talk about religion and Ayurveda with Neale.
Yeah, do you know Ayurveda, Neale?
Am I what?
Do you know Ayurveda?
Oh, I have not. No, I have not read that material. I know about it, of course, but I'm not familiar with the Ayurveda.
Well, first of all, I would like to say how happy and how honored I feel to be with you tonight.
Oh, it's lovely. Thank you. That's a nice thing to say.
And I really enjoy your wisdom and your love and your great knowledge that you have. And all the people who read your books, they love you, you know. And I told them that I will be tonight with you. Everybody really said, what a wonderful person you are. And to just tell you a little bit about me, I had the great fortune to meet His Holiness Maharishi Mahesh Yogi 49 years ago. And I learned Transcendental Meditation. And that completely transformed my life.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah. And I then had a very strong desire to become a teacher of his Transcendental Meditation. And I have taught thousands of people in all continents. And I really could see how their life got transformed just within a few days.
Yes.
And I was living 7 years kind of in a monastery with him. And under his guidance, we were researching consciousness through the transcendental experience as a field of all possibilities. We were studying the Vedic literature and also compared it with modern science. And then when Maharishi started with the health part of Ayurveda, the Vedic knowledge, Ayurveda, in 1983, 1984, I had the great fortune to be in the team with him and the greatest Ayurvedic scholars and experts from India. And I could really see how many chronic diseases could be cured with, natural means. And then Maharishi inspired me to open a clinic in a spa town of Bad Ems, which is now recognized by UNESCO as one of the 11 greatest spas of Europe. And we have treated 30,000 people here with Ayurvedic, treatments, detoxification programs, and just simple advices about diet and herbal products. And we have seen that we could treat successfully many people who had chronic diseases who couldn't be helped otherwise. And I have made it now the mission of my life to spread Maharishi's knowledge about Ayurveda in the world and to make it a part of the healthcare system in all countries. And I think that the health problems that we are facing today, there is not really a solution for the chronic problems, like diabetes and cancer and so many other health issues that we have. And modern medicine has a very important role. Also, I wouldn't be sitting here without the help of modern medicine. But modern medicine really cannot treat the root cause of disease. We know from Ayurveda that all diseases come because of imbalances in the mind, in the body, behavior, and environment. And these imbalances, they manifest gradually in 6 stages. And modern medicine can detect, in spite of all the technology that we have, from the Ayurvedic perspective, the diseases only once they have manifested to stage number 4 or 5. And this knowledge of Ayurveda was even to a large extent lost in the Indian education system, but in the family traditions, very important parts were kept. And Maharishi has worked with all these great family traditions and put it together like a puzzle. And we have a system like pulse diagnosis, which is called Nadi Vigyan, where by feeling the pulse, the Ayurvedic expert can detect the diseases before they actually manifest. And this knowledge is now needed in the world to make our world more healthy. So I just wanted to share that with you. And another important aspect of that knowledge is that we know in Ayurveda that the most important thing is the realization of the inner self, which is called Atma in Vedic terms. And the word health in Ayurveda means established in the self, swasthya. And the word illness in Sanskrit, the most ancient language, is called pragyaparat. That means, when we analyze from the roots, it means the mistaken intellect. That means our intellect makes the mistake that we identify with the outer world, and we forgot who we are in our innermost self. And Ayurveda has many, many different approaches, and it's a sister science of yoga. The word yoga means unification. So the unification with the divine value of life, with the inner self, which is by its nature bliss consciousness, unbounded awareness, this is a very powerful tool to create health from within. And when we look at the collective health now, all the crime that we have and terrorism and war, even that is mentioned in the ancient scriptures, which are thousands of years old in the Vedic literature. They even describe how wars happen when people lose the connection to the self. They don't follow dharma, which is the will of God, the inner duty. And then they become greedy and egoistic, and then they start to spoil the food and the water. And then gradually the aggression comes to fight with other people or to be fought. And Maharishi really had, he revived the whole Vedic knowledge and brought it together with modern science. And he said there are descriptions in the Vedas how to create peace in the world. And Maharishi said, if we have like 1% of the population transcending, and it's very easy to transcend with the technique of transcendental meditation, that from this deepest level of life, waves of harmony and love, they spread around. And they actually remove the tensions in society. It's described in the yoga text, in the ancient yoga text, that in the vicinity of sattva, that means peace and harmony, the negativity goes away. Like when we bring the light, the darkness goes away. And I want to bring it to the attention of the people in the world that it's possible to create peace in the world. We just need to have enough people who go back and experience the simplest state. And we have seen through the scientific research that all the brainwave activities, they become coherent, they can become orderly during the meditation practice. And we know from quantum physics that everything in the universe is connected from this deepest level of life. So here really is a technology that is independent from any religion or lifestyle. Everybody can learn it, no matter what religion people follow. And at the same time, I have observed from my experience that people, when they practice this simple form of transcendental meditation, that they begin to follow and live and understand their own religion. And what Torge is doing and all his friends, the Pantheismus, is seeing God in everything. So here we have really a technology that is removing the stress from us and to start to receive more the reality of life. And I think you have contributed and awakened the consciousness of so many people who read your books, that they started to believe there is some truth in that. And I think what we can contribute from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's teaching, the Vedic understanding, is that there is a technology that can help everybody without having to go through this near-death experience to start to grow in inner enlightenment and peace. Does it make sense to you?
No, not a single thing you said makes any sense whatsoever. None of it makes any sense. So you should never. Of course, it makes sense. It makes everything, every single word that you've said. And the real question is not whether it makes sense, but what would it take to bring this technology to more and more and more people? And now, these days, because we have the technical tools that we didn't have 25 or 30 years ago,
yeah,
we can now bring this information to millions of people much more rapidly. I'm very, very, I don't want to use the word impressed, because who am I to be impressed? But I'm very inspired is a better word. I'm inspired by hearing you talk and by what you have to share. And I hope that you will continue to use your life in the wonderful way that you are using it to bring this information to as many people as possible. Yes, it is possible to have world peace in our lifetimes. And we have the technology. We have the ability. Peace is who we really are.
yeah.
Love is who we really are. And all we have to do is find a way to get back in touch with who we really are. And you're sharing a marvelous technology that can be used by any, as you said, anyone of any religion, any race, any culture, any nationality, any political persuasion. It doesn't matter. The technology can be used by anyone because it does not violate anyone's other beliefs. It simply puts you in touch with the true essential self. So, boy, bless you, bless you, bless you for the work you are doing.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to share my experience, and I had the great fortune for many years to work directly with the great sage, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who sent me to many countries to talk to heads of states and government ministers and big groups of doctors. And I really have experienced miracles during that time. And these miracles we call in our organization support of nature. That means good luck is something that is not a coincidence. It can be cultured when you start to perform from that silence level of the mind. And I have written the book, The Blessings of Maharishi, where I describe from my own experience. You know, he was working 22 hours a day.
Yes.
I was living, I had my office for several months in his suite, and I could see how he works around the clock to help the world to become peaceful. And I have really seen miracles happening working with him. So I wanted to share my experience in that book. And then I started to know about, you know, participating in projects. Like I went to Africa in 1984. I was in Kenya. And there were many schools in the slum areas of Nairobi, where they had a lot of violence. You know, they were fighting and burning the classrooms, and they were attacking the teachers. And in these schools, there were at that time, 70% of the students didn't pass the examinations. And I taught with my colleagues about 4,000 children, primary and secondary school children, the Transcendental Meditation. And the whole atmosphere within 2-3 weeks was completely changed. And I stayed there for 1 year, supervising the project. And when I left, they had 3 government examinations. And in every single examination in these slum schools, 70% of the kids have passed the examination. And the violence was completely gone. And in some other African country, we have taught all the inmates in prisons Transcendental Meditation. Like in Senegal, they had about 12 prisons. And usually about 70%, 80% of the inmates, when they get released from prison, within a year, they are back in prison. And the people, when they had started Transcendental Meditation, only 10 or 20% had to go back to prison. So we can also rehabilitate the prisoners, you know. And we have done some scientific research on the brain activities. You see, if people become criminals, that means some parts of the brain, they are not working. There is no blood circulation anymore. And if those areas of the brain are correlated to good thinking and ethics, and they are not working anymore, you can tell the people what you want. You can't rehabilitate them. But when the people go back to the self and start to release the stress and transcend, then their brain begins to function better, and they have a real accomplishment of rehabilitation. I was told that in United States, the Pentagon, you know, the part of the defense ministry, they have lots of problems with these soldiers who are completely traumatized after the war. And when they came from Afghanistan and other war parts of the world. And it's very difficult to rehabilitate the people because they have gone to so many horrible things. And they have seen that the TM, Transcendental Meditation, is the most powerful tool to help these people back to a normal life. So it's really a wonderful technology. And thank you for your good wishes and your blessings. And we are many in the world. You know, Maharishi's organization is established in more than 100 countries. And so we are doing our best to introduce it into schools, into companies, into the health services, into the prisons. So here is really a knowledge that just has to be applied to create a better world. A world of peace and love and happiness and creativity and joy.
Thank you for the work that you're doing. Wonderful, wonderful information.
If you come to Germany, Neale, I would be very happy, to host you here in my center. It's a beautiful facility. It is a town that has a tradition of 2,000 years of healing water. We have 19 heating water sources in the spa town of Bad Ems. And the building where we are operating now used to be 20 years, the palace in the summer of Kaiser Wilhelm I. And when you come to Germany, please do visit us. I'll pick you up from the airport Frankfurt. It's only 1 hour away. And get a taste of these wonderful rejuvenating treatments.
Thank you. And I'm going to read the book, The Blessings of Maharishi. I'm going to read that book immediately.
Thank you.
Thank you for telling me about it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Folks, we have a chance here. We have a real chance. Listen to every word that's being spoken here.
Yeah.